Prepare yourself for invasion. This is Indie Invasion.
Boom!
You guys caught me running. Oh man, welcome in, guys. Indie Invasion. Yes, I was running to get this because I think tonight I might be using this a little bit. Just a little bit.
You might, but I think you might be surprised with. I'm sort of sneaking this whole thing up on Eric. Everybody can read the title, but some stuff had got me thinking. Anyway, what's happening, guys? Hey, thanks for the hobby hangout last week. That was a lot of fun.
I was glad some of the audience, our followers and our buddies from around the world got to join us and work on stuff.
Absolutely. And I'm still working on the same stuff. It's because there's a lot of it.
I was running and I ran in the basement for no reason because it was sitting right there.
That's what happens sometimes, man. But I actually, I got sick the day after.
What's up, Todd?
Happy Thursday, Mr. Robinson. I got sick the day after, and I had the flu for the whole weekend. So that was not too much fun. I was sitting downstairs the day after doing a little bit of painting, and I'm like, man, I'm tired. This is not that much work. This is supposed to be relaxing.
At least it was just a flu. Some of our substitutes at work that fill in for us when we're sick or on vacation and stuff, some of them came down, same thing, and then they did a test. They got COVID again. Yeah. So still going around.
Yeah, I mean, it's not even the flu. I think I would have rather had COVID than the flu.
Yeah.
So I've already had COVID twice, so I know what that feels like. So what's happening, Alder? Happy Friday to you, sir.
I don't
got a happy Thursday and a happy Friday.
Yeah.
Hopefully the future is treating you well, sir. I hope the future is treating you well.
The weekend is right around the corner for him.
I know, man. I know. It's early. It's morning for him. Morning on Friday. So we're not quite there yet, but what were you working on besides all of your comic book stuff? Free plug here. Don't forget to go check out SideQuest Comics YouTube channel. Yeah, I do. Don't tell me what to do. You're not the boss of me. Go check out the SideQuest Comics YouTube channel and the Instagram. Eric's posting all kinds of comic book stuff. The bug has rebitten him. But at least I told him at least he doesn't have to paint his pile of opportunity.
That's right. I mean, it's been a good 20 years, so I kind of dove in, and I think the difference is now that I am a grown adult, it's like I can afford what I want. If I want to buy an expensive comic, I just do it.
I know that was the same way with me when I got back into 40K after having been out for so long, being a young airman in the Air Force and not having any money. And now I'm an adult and I went out to buy and I'm like, wow, I'm just going to buy my whole army right now. I'm going to buy my 1,500 points and I don't have to buy it 75 points at a time. So,
that's how many of us, I think, end up with full closets of boxes of sprues.
Yeah, no kidding. So anyway, what are you working on besides SideQuest? Since I interrupted my question to you.
If you guys haven't seen our live hobby night, that you guys can go catch it in the review and stuff. I finally pulled that trigger and just dove into it, and I got so much done on Dormammu.
I know we're gonna have to have another one just so you can finish him.
Man, yeah, I got to finish his little leg things here. I forgot about, but and do some more. I really, what it was, I think, is I embraced the dry brushing when I really got into painting, like not 40K, but Warhammer Fantasy.
Yeah,
it was all about the dry brushing for me. I had angle brushes, I had the big, fat, like almost makeup type brushes.
Yeah.
And just went to town. Dry brushing was my bread and butter. So it's like I kind of tapped into that with this guy, and it was a lot of fun. I wasn't getting all technical and caring about, this line needs to be nice and neat. I just was having fun, slapping it on.
I still haven't. I keep meaning to pick up one of those makeup brushes for some dry brushing. I hear that they're great. I hear like they're the best, and even the Dollar Tree ones are really good. I haven't tried one yet though, so
I think that's the way I would go, because I have some expensive ones. The games and gears I got, from Adepticon and stuff. And I got 2 sets of them, and one of the sets, I think I was just a little too rough with it or didn't clean it well.
Gotcha.
It's all scraggly, and so it's like I go and I got another one for like next to nothing compared to that, and works the same. Works the same. So let's see, what's Terrence say? Anything well, it depends. Actually, Terrence, I don't think I'll officially plan anything. I think the last couple years they just really didn't have any tournaments or anything that I wanted to do.
Yeah.
Casually, I'm all over casual. Last year I ended up getting kind of sick, so that kind of put a damper on my motivation to do anything there. So I was kind of just dragging butt the whole time. So hopefully this year I'll have a little more energy. I think I was running around a lot too last year. I didn't actually take time to enjoy it. I think that's something that you kind of fall in that trap of, you got to see everything. So you're
you never slow down.
Yeah. And you miss out on, I think, more by trying to see everything for, 2 seconds versus maybe 2 things for a day type of thing. So,
well, you should pop over and see the Free Blades guys.
Yeah, they ran a tournament, I remember, last year.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure they do every year. It says, hey, look, Anthony says
there's going to be a Moonstone. I have to check that out, because I know it's
better get your stuff painted up.
I don't have anything painted up. One of my local stores that really got into Moonstone, I think last year, I don't think they did last year, but they were talking about sponsoring a tournament.
Okay.
I don't know if this is them doing it or if it's just a local group that's doing it, but that really took off in our area. So I need to look into it more.
Get your stuff painted.
Yeah, that's half the battle, right?
Get your stuff painted, man. Get it painted. Get it painted. So anyway, let's talk about what we're going to talk about.
Okay. Well, you were noodling about this, and I think this is a really cool subject. I kind of loaded up behind me here, and I titled this "Level of Lore," because when you brought it up, this is what made me think. Okay, what is the level of a game's lore that draws you in? What level do you want? I mean, does it matter? Do you just want to play the games? Throw some dice, or is there that level that just sucks you in?
Right.
I mean, many of us were first introduced to, I consider the ultimate lore. It's right behind me. This was fantasy, but 40K, right?
Right.
How long they've been doing that? Since
actually
80 something?
So that's what started my brain going down this road was my son had come over. I had just started doing some BattleTech stuff, painting some BattleTech stuff, and we were chatting because he's still big into 40K. He didn't play a whole lot anymore, just opportunity. But but I got to thinking about it, and I think the reason that I fell in love with 40K in the early 90s was because I remembered playing BattleTech in the 80s. And the thing that I remembered the most about BattleTech was the depth of the lore. Like, if you jump in, I imagine it like this. I'm sure everybody's seen that meme where the dude walks up to the little puddle in the middle of the road and jumps into it and sinks in over his head kind of thing. Right? That's like the depth of the lore. And I was actually looking. So what you were asking about is, so BattleTech started in 1984 and Rogue Trader came out officially in 1987. It was released in the magazine in 86. But so you're talking about all that time of developed lore. And I mean, for anybody, I'm sure everybody in this group has thrown dice at least one time in a 40K game and read a little bit of the fluff and seen, 40K likes to release a a rule book every 14 and a half minutes for new stuff. So look, there it was. A new rule book just got released for a faction in 40K.
It's like what's the old movie? You hear a bell and a new game rule book.
Yeah. And that's a new faction book right there, army book right there. But in all of them, it's like half the book is fluff.
Yeah, I think so.
Always has been.
Like this. Here's the core rules. Okay, it's this little pamphlet. Okay. It also says core book, which has the rules in it again, but that's like this. The rest of this is all lore.
Yeah.
And I think 40K is worse, isn't it?
40K is, well, I mean, worse is subjective. That's subjective. That's what we're here to talk about, right?
Well, yeah.
It's subjective. True. Is it worse? Because there's hundreds of there you go. Army books. There's hundreds of novels, right? Like when the novels first started coming out, boy, everybody was writing a novel, and they were just pumping them out one after the other. And BattleTech is the same way. Now, if anybody in the group can think of anything that has a deeper lore background than those two games, I would love to hear what it is, because I don't think that there's anything. We're talking 1984 and 1987 is the length of time that those rules and lore have been around. Todd, I was just about to get to that too. Lore comics are lore too. But as far as it's like there was a BattleTech comic book, there was a BattleTech cartoon. There's supposedly the Henry Cavill 40K movie going to come out, right? So you're just talking layers and layers and years and years and years of just this constantly developing story. Now, to be fair, the 40K story did stagnate for a long time, before they started moving it along. But yeah, that was the thing I was going to get to next. The rules have hardly changed for BattleTech. I mean, it's almost the same game. And the lore is nuts, but it's so broad. It's like in the 40K universe, where the universe is so broad, you can just make some dude up and he'll never encounter any of the main characters to screw with the main storyline, right? Because it's just so broad.
Yeah, it's an established world already that it's been going for so long. It's easy enough to kind of like you think of role playing. Right. Create a character and just insert them into that world, and it fits in because it's already all established and stuff. And then you get to buy that one mini and build them and paint them and put them on the table.
And the level of depth in BattleTech is just ridiculous. Again, much like 40K, but it's just ridiculous. You can get books and look up the rank insignias for all of the factions. They'll tell you everything from, okay, this guy is the toilet mechanic, and this is his rank, and this is what his uniform looks like.
Toilet third class.
That's right. This is the toilet mechanic third class on your jump ship. Like, wow. Okay, hold on a second. So, but it's so deep. But I wanted to start with those two because those are monster lore, right? If you love lore. And he pilots an urban mech. There you go. Okay, if you don't know anything about BattleTech, you go watch a few videos and you'll get that joke that the toilet mechanic pilots an urban mech. But then it's like, so now you go to the extreme other end, right? Just real quick to the extreme other end, and you have a game maybe like 5 Parsecs from Home, or Space Station Zero, where or Violent Dark from Black Site Studios, where what you have is a bare bones story. You've got, okay, here's your world. This is kind of some of the stuff that might go on and might happen, but it really just depends on what you want to do. And then, of course, there's everything in between. Now, as a quick caveat, I do want to say, I think that there's 2 other games that have a rich lore that has not been running quite as long as those first 2, but close to it. And it might surprise you because those 2 games are Quar and Twilight, the Chronicles of Anural, because both Josh and Mike have been working on the lore for that game as, projects that are just lifelong love projects.
Yeah, they started in here and just kind of,
right.
cooked and eventually it came out on paper and
Yep. And it's just this constantly flowing story. So those two are really big too. But then you have all the stuff in the middle, right? You've got Wild West Exodus. Great story. Good development. Not real long, not a whole lot going on.
Which edition I brought up?
I saw you brought up the right edition. You brought up the edition of Wild West Exodus. That's the only edition of it right there. That's the one. There's good fluff in that. And of course, there you go. You can just take both of us out and just leave the book there. There you go. Twisted has a great storyline. The Drowned Earth has a great storyline. So the question is, what is it exactly that you want out of a game in a level of lore? So I'm gonna posit the question to you, Eric. What level do you like in your lore for a game? What's the level you like? And you guys jump in the comments too.
I don't know. Now I've done the deep ones, like the Warhammer, where you got all the army books that go more into depth, and they are a lot of fun. If you find your faction that you're really into, it's a lot of fun. But I think eventually, as a gamer, as you go on with time, you kind of get impatient with that. Some people do anyway,
right?
And they want to kind of more just let's just get in the game. So that's where I think like stuff like these games that are a little more role playing, they give you like an outline of the world and you can kind of make it up as you go, are a little bit more appealing to me. Like Urban Manhunt is a good one for me, that it's got an established world, but it's not super deep. It just gives you like that flavor. It's the lore that gives you
a taste of the world.
Yeah, and then you just play in it, right?
So actually, I think Urban Manhunt, and maybe not for a lot of people, and and it may not appeal to Todd, but I'm going to use his comment for this, where he says it has to be good enough to make me care. And I think that like a game like Urban Manhunt, which if you haven't checked that out, go pick it up at Drive Through RPG, is a game that does that to you. It like hooks you with just enough flavor for you to, I guess, for the totally made up off the top of my head, weird analogy, you can finish making your own sandwich, right? It gives you some tasty bread and some Grey Poupon, and you can finish making the sandwich.
This is another one too. It gives you just a little bit of the world, gives you the flavor, and you get to go play in it. Star Breach, another kind of one that gives you a little bit of the flavor, and you play in it. And of course, we can't be talking about lore without a zombie game for me.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
County Road Z level. Just enough to get you in, and you can kind of tell the story you want, right?
Yep. So Anthony makes a good point too. Lore is neat if it's interesting, but the models have to look cool. It has to have a cool aesthetic. And that's what I love about our hobby, right? Because there's some dudes that they just want to play because of the models. There's other dudes that just want to play because they are going to min-max everything and they are list builders and they love to do that part of it. And then you're going to have other dudes that they don't care. They're going to build the worst army to go on the table because it is aesthetically pleasing and it fits the lore. Now, I love what Tonio said here because I'm going to go back to Battletech with this one. Optional depth. Cool premise, great story, but deep isn't required. Like the depth in Battletech is there, but when it comes down to the brass tacks about it,
not be robots.
It's just just a board game essentially. That's essentially what it is. Every faction can use every mech. There's not these restrictions on it when you put it on the table as far as playing, right? You can do whatever you want. So it's really an optional depth game. And I don't know how they managed to capture lightning in a bottle where they didn't have to change the rules after all these years and have that kind of that optional depth to the game. I'll let you field Todd's.
No, it was Todd saying, yes. Todd was one of my Wild West Exodus players, and he said it was good enough to make him care why was Tesla in a big snappy mech thing, and Abe was running around with a huge axe.
His axe shotgun. Thank you very much. Okay, now I'm going to field the one from Anthony because you're going to know why. I'm with you 100% on this one, brother. The original WWX fluff was it. The revamped stuff, I'm not. They started losing me a little bit when the aliens came out, when the Watchers came out.
The aliens were there, but not as prominent. And I think now that's been a couple years removed, and I feel like I can say this comfortably because I'm looking at it different. The original had the fluff, had the story and all that stuff where you really got into your factions, right? You know, whether you're enlightened or, you know, Union or whatever, it had that fluff to connect to. Now, second edition came out, and even third edition, which I barely touched. The game turned into, like you said, mid-maxing. You're building, you're list building, you're trying to. I mean, I played with a lot of guys that would just put stuff in because it was a cool model or they liked the character, because the character still had fluff, but the game itself turned into, if you want to do good, you have to take A, B, C. You couldn't take D, E, F and, you know, expect to really excel. You could have fun, but I guess that comes down to what kind of gamer are you? What kind of game are you looking for?
Yeah, well, and we've had this exact conversation before in regards to Wild West Exodus. Is one of the things about the first edition, and I'll forever remember this. In one of the games that I played against a buddy of mine, was I had one of my dirt farmers got off the perfect lucky shot and killed Jesse James. Come on, that's never going to happen in a min-maxed army, because you're not going to have the dirt farmers because they're terrible. They were so terrible, but I would have 50 of them, so they could be not really 50, but you know, I'd have a whole lot more than
you could have a lot.
You could. Let's see. Terrence doesn't want some grognard busting his chops on gun tips blue instead of blue. I know you changed that, but you're right. The wrong grognard would tell you that they were the wrong blue instead of blue. So.
Many times when I've gone in the stores and to check out games and I, you know, watch people playing it and I see that kind of interaction, I'm just like instantly, nope, I'm out, because I don't want to deal with that. I want to play it the way I want to play it, not play it the way somebody's telling me to play it, you know, because of stuff like that.
So and everybody's going to have a different thing. This was I would say probably 99% of our shows are never about this is the right way to do it. Because, well, listen, if y'all are listening to us for any right ways to do it, y'all are listening to the wrong people. Okay, we don't know what we're doing. We barely know what we're doing when we turn this thing on Thursday nights. But the point is to make you think about it, because when you get across the table from somebody, is to appreciate the fact that they might be somebody that is more lore based. So when you look at what they have, so that you don't end up being that grognard who's complaining about something that's painted the wrong way. You know what I'm saying?
I think, you know, when I did my demos and stuff, I did a pretty decent job with Wild West Exodus and letting players do what they want to do. And I mean, I remember some players getting a little frustrated because they didn't quite understand you know, the little things about building their force and still having fun with it. And a couple of them just didn't care. They just wanted to play, you know? So,
yeah. Well, I used to run the Wild West Exodus first edition was the game that I used to run at conventions. Every convention I would go to, that's what I would run. And it was easy for people to play.
I like this.
Do I really look like someone with a plan? There you go. That's us. Maybe we should both dress up as Joker next Halloween and do our Halloween show, because we don't have a plan. We have a little bit of a plan. We like text each other and go, hey, what do you want to talk about?
So, yeah.
I don't know. Let's have a hobby night.
Oh.
So, yeah, everybody's going to be at those different points. And sometimes, like, I like both of them. You know what I mean? I like to sometimes play Violent Dark, or even Rumble Slam, where there's, I mean, to say that there's lore is,
yeah,
there's a little bit. But there's other times where I just want to get buried in a game, because I feel like those games that have the middle line of lore, what they make me buy too many miniatures, because then I start creating my own stuff like I've done with Twisted.
Okay, I was going to ask you about this, but Terrence is saying, because I have the stash, I'm Cesar Romero. So
definitely. You got to be
Jack.
Cesar Romero.
You could be Jack. What's Elton saying here? I saw his lore rarely is enough to get me in a game, but it might be a hook to look into.
Yeah,
that's true. That's what lore is good, is to hook you in there.
Yes.
But it's the minis that make or break the sale. We mentioned that. Followed close by how cool the game engine is. After that, he digs deeper into the lore.
Yeah.
So,
And I would say that's probably 90% of us.
Yeah.
I think, the people that are very hardcore tournament players, they're going to be looking at rule stuff first. But to be honest, those hardcore tournament players, they already know what rules they want to play. Yeah. Right? They're not branching out. They're committed and dedicated. There's nothing wrong with that. Todd, you're welcome. That's what we do, man. Started getting into the a war transformed thanks to Mac talking World War I games. Yep. Hey man, I got all my Quar stuff right here for my World War I.
That's another thing. You think about lore. If it does have that deep lore, you could get into a game and never actually play it. Like 40K, I think I played maybe once or twice. But what got me into it was the lore and the minis and just painting them and, that side of the hobby, not so much the gaming. So that's a lot of games out there that you can get into and just build the armies and then never actually play. And there's nothing wrong with that, I think.
And that's where our hobby right now, the golden age of hobbying that we're in is you can be a game maker and you don't have to develop lore. You can just put out a decent rule set and some great minis. As we've seen lately, you can just put out a cool rule set.
Well, yeah, you look at Snarling Badger stuff. I mean,
right, that's what I mean. It doesn't even have to be a
little bit of lore, but
yeah, and it doesn't even have to be a refined rule set. Now, I don't say that to put down the Space Station Zero and Rain in Hell rules. I think they're great rules, but they're not really in when you look at a lot of other games, they're not really a refined rule set. You know what I mean? They're not.
They're designed to.
They're beer
and go, right?
Yeah, exactly. And there's huge value in that. So I don't think you ever are really going to plumb the depths of what's going to make a good game, because you're going to ask 10 different people what makes a good game, and you're going to get 10 different answers.
Yeah, it's a very personal experience, really.
It really is.
I mean, you may find a group that has very similar tastes and ideas and that's where you get your game group to play those certain games. But yeah, it's very personal, and it's what do you want out of the game? Basically.
And now, since you said that and we're running out of time, I'm going to leave it with this, since we had the grognard comments. Okay, be advised, gentlemen, don't become the grognard, because remember, it is very much, our hobby is very much a personal thing.
Yeah.
Right. So the person you're across the table from, it's a personal thing for them too. Don't become the grognard. And Starfleet battles. I was going to bring that up, but then I thought I would ramble.
You want to do calculus.
Yeah. Listen, my Starfleet battles is right over there, dude. I got stacks of shit.
I quit doing math my third year of college. I don't want to do anymore.
It's not a good game. It's a great simulator.
That's actually,
That's my opinion of it. I don't view it as a game, because I mean, I feel like you're putting your noodle to the test, man. Cool. It's like you're grinding, but in a good way, right? You're having fun with your buddies. Yeah, it's an old Atari simulator, man. That's what it is. But it's awesome. I'm telling you, it's awesome, and it has a pretty massive community. You would be surprised. You would definitely be surprised. But there are, every hobby's got its grognards. So Don't. Yeah. That should have been what we titled it. Don't be the grognard.
Don't be
Don't be the grognard, man.
I don't think I ever was. I was like, you play how you want to play. Right?
Oh, me too. If I'm not having fun, I'm not playing. That's all there is.
What, I know, just like painting, a lot of people get hung up on what other people are doing. Do what you want.
Yeah. If you want to improve and get a golden demon, do it.
Yeah.
If you're happy with 3 colors and a dip, do that. If you like clear bases, don't let people pressure you.
Gee, are you feeling a little
I'm feeling a little attacked over here. Okay, no, I'm just kidding. That's true, Anthony. Starfleet Battles is the antithesis of beer and pretzels. That is 100% true.
Yeah.
And Todd's got it there too. Refuse to play Alpha Strike because you want all those charts with your mechs. Amen, brother. I got you, man. I'm getting back into it, and I printed a whole bunch of them out, and I laminated those bad boys. I'm ready.
That reminds me of the original Car Wars where you had all the little cutout cardboard
little
pieces
chits. Oh gosh, yeah,
and that shit, and they were so tiny that you would lose them.
Oh yeah, you lose everything. So anyway, don't be the grognard.
That's what we have to take away. Don't be the grognard.
Don't be the grognard.
Play how deep you want to play.
That's right. And if you want to play super deep, find your buddy that's going to want to play that way, and y'all sit around and talk about how each other's paint schemes are exactly how they're supposed to be, and develop your own characters and commanders and villains and all that other kind of stuff. And that's pretty good, Terrence. I'm going to remember that instead of beer and pretzels, scotch and antacids. You probably need both of those playing some Starfleet Battles. We used to play on a ping pong table.
Man, oh man.
So, all right. Whose turn is it to take us out?
I think it's your turn, sir.
My turn? Okay,
yeah.
I'll take us out then. All right. Anyway, guys, thanks for joining us on this Thursday night. This was a fun one. I've been noodling on this one for a little while. Just conversation is what brought it up. But here we are, solving the gaming problems of the world, one game at a time, or one story at a time. Anyway, like, follow, subscribe, smash the button, get the bell notification too, so that you can see when we're going live. And as we haven't seen Todd in a while, but we're still the fastest 30-ish minutes in wargaming every Thursday night. Join us for streams, and we've been hitting the monthly hobby night too. So this month will probably be a little squirrely with the holidays. Who knows what it's going to look like from here? But we'll keep you guys informed in Discord and on.
Do something for New Year's Eve again, though. We've been doing that a lot.
Yeah, and we're all grognards in that sense, where we're not partying, we're painting. So that works. Maybe we'll do something. Don't forget to check us out on all the podcast platforms. You can listen to some stories and stuff we have from way back in days of yore or days of COVID. Our days of yore. Check us out on Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, and definitely don't forget to check us out over on the Discord channel, where you see lots of pictures. If you have something you want us to talk about or check out, shoot us an email at indieinvasion@gmail.com. And last but most certainly not least, especially because it's getting cold, you might need a hoodie, you might need a hat. I still haven't found a good beanie on Redbubble. Just saying,
because they don't have good beanies. It's weird. That's the simplest thing.
Yeah, well, I think it's the stitching for the pattern maybe on the beanie that messes them up. But anyway, if you want some Indie Invasion merch, pop on over to Redbubble and you can check that out. There's all kind of cool stuff over there. And I think that is all.
That's it till next week.
And if you guys get busy over the holidays and we don't see you for the rest of the month, I know it's only the 7th, but I also know the holidays get crazy.
They come up fast.
That's right, they do. So for those of you who can't make it back that we don't see, Merry Christmas, and we'll see you on New Year's. But the rest of you guys, we'll see you next Thursday. And don't forget to prepare yourself for the invasion.